Okay, so this time we went over this Nirvana song called About a Girl, which is in, it's got E minor and G as kind of the main chords that lead it through the intro and into the verse, and then it has some power chords in the chorus. And so a couple of things to note about it is we wrote down the strumming pattern here, and it's a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and kind of style, I guess you would say. And so that allows you to decide to play or not play on any of those things, and you know, you can get some breaks in there for some rests. And so we wrote down the strumming pattern here, which is down, down, up for the E minor, and then down, up for the G. And so how that works with this counting thing is I'm going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm going to skip the first and on the E minor, and I'm going to play everything, the 3 and 4 and on the G. So that would sound like this. It'd be like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you see how I'm skipping the and between the 1 and 2, sort of by pulling my hands sort of completely off almost. And also we talked a little bit about making sure that your pick is going to be held the right way, so you don't want it to be kind of pointing outward. You kind of want to have it to where it's laying on your finger, on your first finger, kind of like that, and then you cover it up with your thumb and you end up with this shape. And while you're playing, you don't necessarily have to have your hand all pointy and bundled up like that. You can let your hands kind of hang out. And then when we're strumming, you're not going to be using your wrist really as much as you're using your elbow. So if you can keep your arm kind of parallel, and your hand kind of parallel to the guitar, meaning it looks like this, rather than like this, kind of perpendicular, then it's going to be an easier shape for you to do. And then when it moves into the chorus, it uses power chords because it's a Nirvana song. You know, they're real big on power chords. And it's a C sharp, G sharp, and F sharp. And we talked a little bit about, you know, how the C shape in itself is up here, and then when you replicate that as a power chord, it looks kind of like this on the 3rd fret and 5th fret is where it's kind of centered around. And so it's C sharp is the first one. So here's C on 3rd and 5th, sharp. There's a whole step between C and D. So in between that is C sharp or D flat, however you want to kind of think about it. So that part, you make that shape, and then you just move that shape down to the next string, exact same shape. So where it's centered on the A string here, on the 4th fret, with your 3rd finger on the 6th fret of the D string, and your pinky on the 6th fret of the G string. And then you're going to move that whole shape to where it's centered on the low E string. So your first finger's on the low E string on the 4th fret, 3rd finger's on the A string on the 6th fret, and your 3rd finger is on the 6th fret on the D string. And then you move that shape a whole step back, and now you get your F sharp. So when you put them all together, put all of them together, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And we didn't get to the next part where it had some extra chords to move through that, but we'll get to that. We could either do it next time or you can look at it on your own. But if you've got some more time this week, definitely go over, you know, the stuff from before with the spider exercises and this pentatonic scale I'm sending you home with today. And still think about, if you get a chance, maybe putting lighter strings on your guitar and see about how that might help. Because I think it really could, as far as being able to press down on the strings. And then as you do all this practicing, you're just going to get stronger, and then eventually maybe you'll need to move back up to a heavier gauge string again. And you know, probably it'll just depend on what's comfortable to you. You might really love light gauge strings. These are actually light gauge strings, and that's just because this guitar needs them. You know, like if I put heavier strings on it, it could be bad for this guitar. And I had heavier strings for a really long time, and definitely, you know, made me have to work with that. And it got easier in a sense to have lighter strings later on. But I kind of like the tone of heavier strings, so it's like always a compromise. And then you might have the same sort of thing. But I would consider it just because, just sort of starting out, it'll give you a little bit more confidence. You're hitting the notes right because you can hear them ring out a little bit better. It's a little easier to do.
Right.
But yeah, any questions or anything?
Nope.
All right, cool.